Hi guys, I'm Sarah Chantler. I'm a registered dietitian and I work for Shelley Meltzer and Associates, and we're based at the Sports Science Institute of South Africa. And today we're going to talk about nutrition and your trail running. You guys sent in a lot of questions. They tended to be grouped around 3 different time frames. So race day nutrition, training nutrition, and your general intake. So first we're going to deal with race day nutrition, starting with what to eat the night before. So I can't tell you exactly what to eat, because each of you are different and an individual in your own right, but you do need to choose something that is not going to irritate your gut, something that's not going to make you feel overfull or uncomfortable. Try not to eat too late, try to make it something that's quite simple, and try to get a sense of routine into your eating the night before a big race so that you've got also settle in for a good night's sleep. So moving on to breakfast the morning before the race. It's very similar to supper ideas, is that each of you will have certain breakfasts and certain suppers that you generally eat on a normal basis. So I wouldn't change anything too drastically. What you do need to look at though is the time frames and the distance of your race that you're going to go and attempt. And the longer the race, the more you need to take breakfast a little bit more seriously in terms of what's in there to make sure that you start on the start line as best as possible. So most of us don't really like eating very close to running time. So usually I do suggest trying to eat breakfast as early as you can without losing too much sleep in the morning. A good hour beforehand is usually adequate, or maybe a little bit more if you do find that you need a little bit longer in the mornings to get going. And then lastly, what to pack in your backpack on the day for the race ahead. It's also quite difficult to sometimes choose between things that are tasty or that you usually enjoy snacking on versus things that are light and concentrated. But each individual does need to try and test these things out in training so that you can then decide exactly how much you can carry and exactly which options work the best for you. I do suggest though that independent of whether you take a more food-based approach or a more supplement type approach, that you try vary the tastes. We do get a little tired of sweet-based things after a long period of time. Vary the texture. Sometimes you need something that's a little crunchy, and then make sure that sometimes you mix and match your fluid and your food-based stuff as well. Another question we got was whether or not to use sports drinks or just to have water on your runs. This is a little bit complicated because a lot of the time you have to take into account whether or not you're using a sports drink for hydration or whether you're using it to actually take in fuel as well. A lot of people do prefer to take in both, so sometimes having your Camelback with a sports drink but your extra bottle in the front with water. It depends whether there's water on the route as well. But a lot of the time it's also whether or not you feel comfortable eating. The more you eat, the less you might need to be able to rely on a sports drink, whereas if you do struggle with eating quite a bit, you need to sometimes up that sports drink intake just to make sure that you fuel adequately during your run. Just to add that sports drinks generally can be quite simple. It doesn't have to be a complex or a specialized option. Things like diluted fruit juice, often for road runners, the favorite of Coke and water, or just your average game Energade Powerades, they all satisfy the same criteria in that they've just got readily available simple carbohydrates that you can take in an easy form, and they're generally quite easy to digest. Just make sure that the concentration of whatever that you're taking in isn't too high, because sometimes it affects the tummy and then you have to make a run for the bushes. So that covers race day nutrition. A lot of those options are things that do need to be trialed and tested in training nutrition. So make sure you take the time to actually do that. The same way that you choose your shoes and put time into choosing the best kit or the best routes or the best training program, you need to obviously spend some time on choosing the best options for your general nutrition as well as your training nutrition. The last question we had was how to improve your general nutrition from day to day. Nutrition is actually a lot more complicated than people think. Each of you are individuals and need to or have different requirements and different things that you need to focus on. But in general, if you improve the focus and the time that you give to nutrition, the awareness of what's going into your body, you will make improvements all on your own. And otherwise, there are generally lots of resources that you can look at, but just be aware of the fact that Google doesn't have all the answers, and that sometimes you do need to contact somebody just to give you a hand and help you fine-tune things a little bit. So I hope that some of those thoughts have been useful in terms of giving you guys some insight into how much effort or what you need to do to improve your nutrition and to focus on it as much as the other aspects of your performance. It really will make a difference if you give it a bit of time. Good luck on the trails, and if you've got any questions, let us know.